the Spotlight. I'm Carmela, and so excited that you're here today. We have guests that bring inspiration through their life experiences. And if I were to title this one today, it would be Triumph for Other People who learn from my very special guest whom you'll meet in a moment. First, let's give a cheers to season 3 Under the Spotlight. Thanks so much for tuning in and for listening. And our sponsor is Perks Next Level Energy Drink. It's a nootropics drink. It's all natural. It's delicious. It gives you clarity, mental focus, and productive energy to get things done. So enjoy. And if you need any information, let us know. Happy to help you out with where to find Perks. So as we begin this journey today, and I know that the 20 minutes goes very quickly, and sometimes we stretch just a few minutes, but I realize that our guests are power-packed in a limited time. And I think that fits the model of today. We're going to take you down this path of a woman that is not only inspiring by what she says, but what she does. She is also a co-owner of Alliance Seminars Coaching. I want to read this to you. Listen to this. This is a veteran-owned, faith-based organization that provides the clients with motivational speaking certified workshops and coaching services. Now, Veronica brings her extensive experience as a keynote speaker, a certified facilitator, and master certified life coach by providing individuals with expertise in areas of relationships, empowering married couples, single people. I think to myself, that is a lot for one woman to bring to all of us on the planet. How did she get there? And in our conversation before meeting with you out here today, that's the story we want to tell. How do you get there where you can impact others with so many skills? It's literally by life experiences. Meet our guest, Veronica Williams, on Under the Spotlight. Hello, my beautiful friend.
Hello. Thank you for having me here for Under the Spotlight.
You're welcome. You deserve to have a spotlight on you. My goodness, you've accomplished a lot and more to come. And I've enjoyed our conversation before the show. And now some time to spend a few minutes with people who are listening in. You're very inspiring by what you bring to the table for others now, like you're speaking as a keynote speaker. What's that realm like, being up on stage? You get the nervous jitters before you go up there, or do you just kind of do the motivational run up there and let it all hang out?
You're always nervous. I'm always nervous.
True.
It's never easy, no matter how many times you may speak before people, but you're always, if you're not nervous when you go out to speak, then you're left on your own. So you have to just find that courage deep down just to go ahead and do what you're set out to do. And that is to encourage and motivate people that you're who's in your audience.
Your topics vary. The military piece is vital in what you do in your world, right? Reaching out to people, but you're not necessarily just speaking to the military community. Is that correct?
That is correct. Most of our work is done through our church, whereas my husband and I are the leaders that we like to call it marriage coaching, providing instead of marriage counseling for couples that are engaged and for couples that I like to say have some hiccups. Just need a little fine tuning, or just need someone else to kind of just set you back on track.
This program helping couples, well, that's powerful. So before you're in the marriage that you're heading into, or maybe along the way. Oh, I really like that, like along the way, because isn't it vital to actually have a mentor? I asked Veronica earlier, she's straight out of Compton, right? You've heard that phrase, but she literally has lived in it. And I asked her something that was really pivotal for the conversation today and in her life, which was, how do you get to inspire and work hands-on with new beginnings, like an engaged couple or people who've been together for so long? Her life experiences, and those life experiences weren't always easy. So you're not always padding it with, things will get better. It'll just be nice. It'll be all right. You actually have some hands-on approach. And where I want to go with this, and as I toss this to you, Veronica, how have you stayed yourself and continued to grow and to learn, but you always have been just you didn't fall into the drugs and the craziness of where your upbringing was, right? You have your faith, You're helping others in many different arenas, military and ministry and in faith and not and all. How in the world do you become so much of who you are and not lose it or be persuaded?
You said it. It was for me, it was my faith, and it was my family, and it was my mentors. For me, my mentors were my sisters, and my brothers. But when you talk about from a sisterhood or your village, it was my mom and my sisters that helped me to stay on the straight and narrow path. They were living a life to not fall into the streets of Compton, where it was drug infested. And during the times when we were growing up, we were a large family, very many girls in our family. I was the youngest, and teen pregnancy was on the rise. And I just remember my father and my mother having a conversation, and my father saying, and oftentimes I would walk in the evening with my father praying, and he always was praying on his knees, no matter what time of hour it was at night. And I remember him praying, Lord, keep my daughter safe, to not fall in. And he would tell us, I've always prayed and asked God to keep my daughters from being pregnant in high school, to keep their purity, and to serve him, and to watch, just to keep them there. And that prayer, I guess, is what covered me. That prayer is what covered me. Because though it was there, I think it also formed in us a fear. We were fearful of our parents, but more so, I think the fear that our parents were instilling in us was really a fear of God. Because we were in church every Sunday, we were participants. I was in the usher. I was on the usher board. I was in the choir. As I became a teenager, I was part of the Sunday school leadership as well. I was the secretary. So having all of those activities and your faith in God that kept you to not want to do any wrong was really a vital force, or a vital area, that a vital segment that kept us clear of what was out there. Because no matter, even in today's time, we're always around it, whether it's drugs, teen pregnancy, so many other unhealthy relationships that we see. Those all are in our communities, but it's what we want to draw from in our communities that bring us to today. And so that is pretty much how I survived. I survived by having positive friends, and friends that had the same values as I had, that kept us to not be peer pressured into all of the things in our communities that we could have gotten into.
It's tough to walk away, right? It's tough to walk away from that, though. Like when you have, maybe a bad influence versus the good influence, it's tough to walk away. But you did that, and you keep mentioning your sisters and people. Like, you are who you hang out with. We hear that all the time. You're influenced by the people that you hang out with. Like, that's a big statement, and it's very, very true. And you're living proof. Do you see, everyone that's listening in, what I hear when she speaks and when I read about her? Veronica literally has never really changed the inner core of her love for Christ, living in her faith, pressing in to her faith, but didn't go outside of that and say, well, this is just too tough, I'm going to cave in, or it's around me all the time, so I guess I have to be like everybody else. That's really powerful. That's the piece that we're after. Like, how do you make those decisions and move through some of the stuff you've been through?
And you realize, too, that some of the things that we go through in our younger years, I don't know who told me this or how I got it, but it's temporary. It was going to pass. It was going to be a whole nother phase after high school, and a whole nother everything else. And, when you're, what you go through and experience as a teenager is different as to what you experience as a young adult, where the influences are really there. But I never, a lot of times when we grow up in with a home that was um, about their faith, about going to church, and after high school, a lot of people taper off, or they veer off, or they say, I don't want that because I was forced to do it.
Right.
It happened with some of my siblings. Um, but I never steered away. I went away to school. I still found somewhere to go. I found a friend that was going to a church on a Sunday that helped me. Knowing different people, life just evolves, and we evolve with it. And we have to realize that some of this won't last, but your faith is one that will last. So I always had to draw that with me. Now, I always didn't have the holy boldness. So I always had to find ways.
Holy boldness. I love that.
I always had to find ways to not go to certain places that I didn't get a good feel about, and just having friends that understand, well, I'm not going to go. I know I told you I wanted to go earlier in the week, but now I'm not really feeling that right now. And finding a good place, because you want to nurture those friendships and not back out. But your faith teaches you loyalty. Your faith teaches you authenticity. Your faith teaches you to do the right things, even when the right thing is unpopular. And those are some of the tools that I carried on into my adult life. Don't know that there were things. My life was not perfect, and none of our lives are perfect. But I tried to do my best to live a healthy life. And a healthy life is reframing from those things that were not going to do me any good in my body, externally and physically and mentally and emotionally. And those are the things I did. Not to say that I didn't encounter some of those things, but I had to go to my faith to keep me there. I had to go to other people, my sisters, close friends, close adult mentors that I met over the years, whether it was older friends that I met that were living a life that of the same values that I had. I think that is really what has framed my life to be in the way that it is. I was never really a follower, and never really tried to be a leader. But I think growing up in a large family and being the youngest, when I got to high school is where I developed, and was about to graduate my senior year in high school, is where I developed my own individuality.
Beautiful.
That's where I decided that I'm not like my sisters. I'm not like my brothers. But I have to discover who I am, number one, as Christ's child, and number two, growing into adulthood. What are my likes? What do I not like?
Right. What is your goal in life now? I know you've won multiple awards. You have many certifications. What I love about your program is we can lean on you to say, I need a keynote speaker for my event. And they're all not only safe, but really inspiring, with their faith being at the center. So we kind of know where they're going to go, right? Credit to God as opposed to credit to just me or the person. So what is your goal now? Do you have one? Do you have anything in the works that you want to spill the beans on?
Well, I'm going to spill the beans. It's hard for me to say this, but I'm in the process of writing a book. Yes. I'm actually at the point where I'm turning it over to the publisher so that it can be written, so that it can be published. Whoa. And put out in the fall. So that's my spill of the beans.
Nice. You heard it first here. I feel very special that you shared that. Thank you so much. How long have you been married to your sweet husband?
Oh, I've been married 25 years in this September 5th, coming up in a couple of months. And I think that's that's been a blessing.
For sure. And do you work together on the program where you're guiding newly married or soon to be married, or not so, and maybe the older marriages?
Yes.
25 years is a long time, sister.
It is a long time. Yes, we are co-founders of Alliance Seminars Coaching. That is where we do most of our coaching from, as well as at our church.
Cool.
And we also do, we facilitate workshops, and we also speak with organizations on how they might better um, develop good relationships among their employees and staff.
Oh, that's so, tell us more about that. That's interesting.
Yes. So we have a course that we facilitate called oh my gosh, the 5 languages in the workplace. And you probably heard of the 5 love languages.
Absolutely. Yes.
Same,
Love it.
same author under that premise, but we find out more of a relationship in the workplace about our coworkers, because that's where we spend most of our day. And we find out how to how they like to be appreciated, and the several steps to, and once we find out how to the employees learn how to appreciate or find out what the other person's appreciation is, they are able to know each other better and operate out of that and make it a more wholesome and friendly work environment.
Okay, I love this idea a lot, because if you're in an environment where you're seeing the same people day in, day out, you want to know a little bit more about them. But that interaction, how you can function at a higher level and a more peaceful level and not get irritated and agitated and all that stuff that comes with, day to day. Do you actually go in, or is this something you can do on Zoom? How do we gain that knowledge from you?
Well, since COVID, we've been doing it via Zoom. Most of the organizations do it through Zoom. And you can still get the same impact from in Zoom. And we've done a couple in person as well for those that are interested in doing it in person.
I'm taking some notes. I love this. So it's not only about marriage, you're also a keynote speaker, and you also do this program, which I love this idea, helping people in the workplace, because it doesn't matter what the workplace is, doesn't matter what the scenario is, what the environment is. We can all work together better if we understand each other. And what better way to understand each other through coaching, you're almost like the mediator, the mentor for people. People don't understand sometimes, many do, how important that mentorship is. Someone who has been successful, she's successful, she is inspiring. Veronica has the tools. It's not just, oh, let me just give these ideas. I'm just going to talk about this. You have the tools to help others really function better. Isn't that what we're really all after? And how many times have we said, gosh, if I only knew now, back then, what I know now? Well, this is the way that you can do that. She's given us that advice. Be yourself, know what you really want, and think about your next step has impact on the future. Right? So you get to make that decision now. So what's the future that you want? How do we get in touch with you for these programs, Veronica? What's the best way? Our producer, I think, has the support of the connection, the links. Yeah?
Yes, you can reach us through on Facebook. You could just type in Alliance Seminars Coaching, or you can reach me at speakerhub.com, and you just put in my name. And another place is allianceseminars.org.
Gotcha.
www.allianceseminars.org. You can reach us there. Either of those two methods will get in touch with us.
We have multiple opportunities to connect with you. If you were to put it in brief or kind of in a nutshell, tell us what you want everyone to know about what you're doing, please, Veronica. Like the different programs, reach out for a speaker for the event. Like, help us fit those pieces together as people are listening. Wow, maybe I want her for an event. What would her topic be? Or gosh, in the workplace, I could reach out to her for Zoom. Can you just give us please, an overview?
Yes. Well, we're just really creating healthy relationships. If it's a women's speaker or whatever is someone that can come and help encourage and inspire and empower women, to encourage them. For our organization, it is to build healthy relationships between husbands and wives, our families. And then for organizations is creating a healthy environment and getting to know your employees through appreciation. We don't often do that in our workplace. A lot of people are not happy with that. But when we take time to really get to know each other, we realize why people respond the way that they do. And then you make it more clear for them to have healthy relationships all around in our that evolves in our whole life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And your book is coming out. Well, you'll let us know when it's out. Should we put it that way?
Yeah, I'm going to let you know when it's out.
I can't wait. I'm so excited because this is a lot to take in. And where does it fit in my life? And I want inspiration. I want guidance. I want a mentor. If you're saying any and all of that, you now have a network, a person who has a big network, who has a lot of tools. We want you to connect. I want you to connect with our guests. And our guest today, Veronica Williams, co-owner of Alliance Seminars Coaching, an amazing opportunity to meet someone who is dynamic, who has the skills, the tools, and is generous. Can't beat all that. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carmela.
You're welcome. Thank you for being our guest on Under the Spotlight. I've had fun getting to know you. I've enjoyed our time, and I'm sure many people listening will glean a lot from you. Thanks for being so open and sharing a little bit of your life and where you are now. And we're super excited about the future, especially reading your book. Will it have this kind of content like we're talking about today, Veronica?
Somewhat. It will give you an overall balance, how to balance life, how to have a wholesome life.
Gotcha. Wonderful. Love that. And we all look forward to that. Thank you all for tuning in, listening in to Under the Spotlight podcast.